Right then, Ross, I think this is a valuable piece of, what do you call this, consumer research or something.
Sure, yeah.
It's really, really good. So we have today 3 Speyside single malts, all 12 years old, all 43%.
Yeah, Macallan's 40, but these two are 43.
Oh, 40 or 43%.
Yeah, 40, 30.
All Speyside single malt, all matured in a combination of bourbon and sherry casks.
They're all essentially that double cask, Doublewood style, all
Yeah.
the same age, all from the same region, all household names as well.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm familiar with all 3 of these, and I've enjoyed all 3 of these whiskies.
But there are also 3 whiskies that are very easy to overlook.
100%.
Like when you've got, access to, in Scotland or these specialist whiskey bars, you think, I know Balvenie 12, I know Macallan 12, I know Aberlour 12.
Yeah.
But they're actually not whiskies that we've had a huge amount. We've maybe had once, twice,
Yeah, it's totally fair. I think it's amazing how popular these 3 brands are globally together. Like France, for example, love Aberlour. You think of Macallan, you think of Americans, to be honest. And then Balvenie, it's one of those things. I've drank a lot of Balvenie. It's one of those drams. If I go into a whiskey bar that's got a really extensive whiskey list, I'll order a dram of Balvenie 12 while I'm looking at the list.
Yeah.
It's like my thinking whiskey, so I'm very familiar with this. I've had a lot of cocktails and stuff with Macallan, previous roles and such. And Aberlour, I think, is just one of those drams that, certainly when I was growing up, my father always had Aberlour, whether it was the Abuna or the 16 they used to do. So it was quite interesting to try their core range. 3 different prices, interestingly. I think these 2 are quite similar.
Yeah, Macallan's a jump. I remember being at a Macallan tasting recently, and they're like, "Oh, we do whiskey for everyone. Really, really approachable drams. Bottles that start at only £70 a bottle."
Brutal. Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
It is a lot. It really is a lot of money. People are trying to get into what I would call 3 good entry-level Speyside whiskies.
Yeah.
That's £40, £45. This is probably a touch less, maybe 40, 35, £40.
Yeah,
They're quite similar ranges. You can get them in supermarkets often.
Yeah.
£70 for a 12-year-old whiskey is quite a lot. But Macallan obviously has that prestige. It is that kind of... The marketing power of Macallan is what... if these guys could get away with charging £70 for their 12-year-old, they probably would.
Yeah.
So it's quite an interesting dynamic, and we'll see what you think.
Pointing out, this Macallan is the 12-year-old, but it's from their double cask range.
Yeah.
So this is a whiskey that's matured in European oak, which obviously they're famous for, but also American oak.
Yeah.
So you'd imagine it's not going to be a 50-50 split. It's going to be predominantly.
No, this will be
American.
mostly American oak, seasoned with sherry.
Yes.
It's going to be quite interesting because I think a lot of people who drink Macallan and have drank Macallan will be thinking, when they say Macallan 12, they actually probably think of the sherry oak.
Yeah.
Like 10 years ago, that was the reality of what they were producing. So quite different now. Balvenie, William Grant and Sons, family owned as well.
I mean, it's very family owned.
It's
a multi-million.
It's huge.
They're massive.
But they actually still have family members involved, which is quite interesting. And they also own about 10% of Edrington, which is quite interesting.
There's a lot of weird overlap.
Yeah.
William Grant's, I don't know, they make good whiskey, but I think the whole, we're family owned thing, it was like...
Oh, they sold me on it.
Cut the crap. Like, you could bully 90% of the industry.
They are huge. They are huge. And their site on Girvan's massive as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say I like Balvenie. I like the story. I like the romance of being up in Dufton with Glenfiddich and Balvenie and Kinenvy. Aberlour is going to go through a massive refurbishment right now.
Okay.
Going to go up to even more millions of litres per year.
Yeah.
Part of the Perle Ricard Chivas Regal portfolio. So really a monster distillery. I imagine most of that is going to go to blending. But also the single malt is so well renowned now.
I think it's... being in Scotland, you think, Aberlour is, it's a massive single malt brand.
Yeah.
But then you think of brands like Clan Campbell that we're not familiar with. They'll outsell Aberlour in France,
Crazy, right?
Crazy.
Yeah, I remember when we spoke about like Glenfiddich being the biggest Speyside single malt in terms of production, 21 million litres a year. They sell 1 million casks a year, which is amazing.
1 million cases.
Yeah, 1 million cases a year, 9-litre cases.
Yeah.
Whereas Grant, the kind of blender, was 4.5 million cases.
Yeah.
So the blends keep the lights on. I think Balvenie is traditionally monkey shoulder. Macallan, traditionally famous grouse, but probably a stretch nowadays. And I'm not sure how much Aberlour goes into Ballantyne's or Chivas because they have such a wide portfolio
Yeah.
now. But let's get them open. Let's have a little taste.
Yeah, I
Let's see what
think,
we
I don't
think.
know what, I'm kind of interested because I like them all.
Yeah, I'm
I
gonna.
think it's easy to be snobbish and be like, oh, I'm past entry level
Yeah,
Speyside single malt. But I don't know, are you expecting them all to be
I think
similar? Is it all going to be vanilla and soft oak?
I think I'm going to like every one of them. The same as what you said there. I think I'm going to like Balvenie best, but I think I'm maybe slightly biased towards the distillery. I've been up to the distillery, I've visited Macallan as well, to be fair, never Aberlour. But it's a whiskey I'm very familiar with. Macallan 12, honestly, as I'm 25-year-old Scottish guy, I can't really afford to spend 70 quid on a 12-year-old bottle of
I
whiskey.
mean, you could spend your money on 2 bottles of something
Yeah,
tastier.
so it's quite. So that's I've kind of priced out the market for owning a bottle of that. And Aberlour 12 is definitely something I've ordered in bars up and down Scotland previously. So let's start with the Aberlour.
Sure,
Yeah.
go for it.
A really nice fresh nose, classic Speyside.
So again, 12 years old. This is their, what's it called, the double cask matured, I think is what they call it.
At 40%.
They don't specify the split between bourbon and sherry. They say American oak casks, sherry oak casks.
It's a really tasty whiskey. It is. It's the nose doesn't offer an awful lot, but it does offer some sweetness. But the palate is what you want it to be. It's a great entry into Scotch whiskey because there's no peat, obviously. Classic Speyside. I think it's a very pleasant whiskey, and for the price point, if you're moving from blends into single malts, it's a really good option.
Yeah, it's not a huge jump. Something like Chivas Regal 12.
Yeah.
Which obviously a same sort of age of
Same company, same
liquid,
age, yeah.
same cask. Some sherry influence. It's not a huge jump from that.
I would agree.
It's decent dram, full bodied. There's a slight kind of savoury, bittery thing on the finish for me.
Yes,
It's not
I agree.
quite
There's
as-
a touch of kind of wood and
Yeah, it's not quite as fruity as I remember.
Yeah.
But it's
I think the 40% I think for us that lets it down just because we're used to drinking a lot of cask strength whiskey, or even just being grateful for 46% now.
Yeah.
For something to be 40%, I've said it before. You're stealing whiskey from me.
tastes a bit wet.
Yeah, it's a little bit thinner, but I guess it is for the price, and it gets more people into the industry because some people want the opposite of cask strength. They want
Yeah,
something really soft and smooth. Now, this would really teach us a lesson if we love the Macallan 12. So
Can you imagine if this is the best whiskey we've ever had?
I like the nose. It's been a while since I've had double cask. Again, I think we would probably agree if we were going to have a Macallan, you would want the sherry oak.
I mean, it's what they're known for.
It's what they built their reputation
I feel
on,
like
right?
you can understand their decision to have we're going to have these 3 strands of sherry oak, double cask, and triple cask, which is predominantly American oak. But there's so many distilleries. They're all using sherry cask and bourbon cask.
Yeah, it is really tasty. It is. It's kind of soft toffees, certainly vanillas. Also naturally coloured,
Yep.
which is worth saying for a 40% whiskey. It's quite unusual.
Yeah, I bet the haters wish Macallan used
Yeah,
caramel colouring, but they don't.
and it does even show that even if they are using American oak, they're using high quality American oak. I think that especially with their duty-free releases and dropping the age statements, they got a lot of stick for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But they still need to maintain that quality of their core range. I think that's quite tasty.
I think it's nice. It's got feels much more elegant than the Aberlour.
I agree.
I don't know whether that's because, do you think they'd probably use more American oak than European oak? European oak obviously is quite, it's a bit bigger.
Yeah. I think they're one of the distilleries that kind of revolutionised this whole seasoned cask. And so maybe they're just better at it. I think I get a bit more sherry influence. This obviously looks darker, but I actually think this is a little bit more indulgent than the Aberlour. And then the Balvenie, 43%.
Yeah, it's got a lovely clean finish actually, the Macallan. Of those
It's
two,
really tasty.
of the two, I'd say the Macallan's probably got its nose in front.
I would agree.
Balvenie, I think, was my pre-race favourite
Yeah.
of the 3.
think this is the bookie's favourite. It's just so familiar with me. Yeah, please gamble responsibly. What will Ross and Laurie like the most? I think 43%. They're at least giving us something a little bit more.
Yeah.
It's such an iconic bottle. I love the range of whiskies they produce.
40%.
Oh, they're all 40%.
All 40%, yeah.
Oh, okay, devastated.
Yeah, never mind. Yeah.
Well,
Take that back.
This has been quite fair then, that they're all
Yeah.
40%. It's one of those things, I love the 21 and always hated that it was 40%.
Yeah, Balvenie's, it's one of those whiskies that's, it's like old faithful. Like it always does the job. It's always, 7 or 8 out of 10.
Yeah. Interesting.
What do you think? Is it, I don't know, you seem torn.
I am torn, because I think I might prefer the Macallan.
Oh, God. Hold the front page.
The Balvenie's really good. It's a pleasant whiskey. It's smooth. It's good at what it's designed to be.
Tight between them, isn't it?
I think these two are superior to the Aberlour for my palate. I think I prefer Macallan 12 to Balvenie 12, which I can't believe I'm saying out loud.
Yeah.
But I could get two bottles.
Double cast
But
as well.
I could get 2 bottles of that.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you know?
We need a value for money element.
I think overall, if you're getting into single malt whiskey, Speyside's a great place to start. 40% whiskies is the most gentle entry into it. I would overall pick Balvenie, but I get why Macallan is what it is. I'm annoyed.
I'm really torn. I think I do love Aberlour 12.
Curveball.
But yeah, it's really true. Like for me, Macallan 12 is the tastiest, but it's also most expensive by a chunk.
By a good chunk. I think it's hard to accept that is the value of these 2 bottles put together.
Yeah. If somebody said, "Do you want a Macallan 12 double cask or
a Balvenie and an Aberlour?" There's really no question.
Yeah.
Because the Balvenie is really close in quality. So my winner overall, personally, is the Balvenie. But that's bloody tasty.
That's good. Annoyingly.
Yeah.
It's tasty.
Well, look at us almost agreeing.
Oh, I know. What's going on? Yeah, who are we? I think they're all good. They're all within, if you want to do the 100-point scale, they're all between 80 and 85. They're all pretty close. There's nothing wrong with.
I very rarely drink whiskey at 40%, but these are all very approachable.
Yeah, absolutely. I think my marginal winner, price excluded, would be the Macallan.
Wow.
Price included, I was going to say Bevvy, just to piss you off, I'll go for that.
Cheers.
We like to disagree.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I appreciate that.
Yeah, all equally good drams.
All good drams. All worth trying if you've not had them before.
Yeah, but a lot of overlap. 2 not 3.
Cheers.
Cheers.
If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more Bevvy content. We want to hear what you think, your best whiskey experiences, the whiskies you want us to try. It's a really exciting journey we're on, so make sure to join us. Download the Bevvy app on Google Play and App Store to keep track of your whiskey journey, connect with your whiskey friends, keep track of your favourites, anything you could ever want to do with whiskey, all in one place. It's the definitive whiskey companion.